Hi there, Sandra here from Creating Spain. I'm doing another Valentine card today. I suppose you could use it as a birthday card, but it really is more likely to be a Valentine one. Now I'm starting off with a 15cm square base in white, and unusually I'm doing a black layer. Okay, there is a reason for this madness, don't worry. Now I have designed and cut out a stencil, and I am just going to place it on here. I am not putting anything sticky on the back of the stencil because I want to use gold and silver and bronze flakes on it. And if I do make it sticky, anything that is sticky that is on that card is going to pick up the flakes, and I don't want it to do that. So the next step is to apply some glue. Now I'm going to be using tack it over and over, and the reason for that is because it is a nice sticky glue and it doesn't make the card too wet. And what I'm using is a Tin Holtz blender, and I'm literally going to apply the glue to the blender and see if that will work nicely. And I suspect it probably will. And the reason for using the blender is because the blender is nice and flat, and you're not so likely to end up putting glue where you don't want it underneath the stencil, particularly since this stencil cannot be stuck down. Normally, that's what stops things from going underneath, but I dare not do that with this because I'll end up with a mess. Carefully, and hopefully, I think I've made a bit of a pig's ear of that. Okay, after that mess up, take two. I've had to get a fresh sheet of black card out, but I can tape this down on here and hopefully get it done. Now what I've done this time, instead of using a thick card to cut the stencil, I've used a thin plastic. The reason being that when you have these really small little holes, something's got to get down in it, and if it's thicker like the card was, that is most probably why it didn't get in those holes and made me annoyed because it didn't work. I've changed this brush, which is one I massacred a long time ago, and it's probably still got some colour in it somewhere, some powder, but I'm going to see if this works any better. So I'm going to work it into the brush, and hopefully this will do the job. So what I want to do is remove the tape from 3 sides before lifting it up, and I'm just going to put the tape on my scrap paper. Hold it down by one place and just rapidly pick it up. And I think that has actually worked. So I need to let that dry to make sure it's super sticky, and I just need to clean my glass mat off where I've managed to get this glue over it. And I can just clean my mat as well. My glue is pretty much dry. I've got 3 containers of this stuff is absolutely gorgeous, but you do not want to get it out of the jar unless you have to. I've got a piece of paper under here as a safety net, and all I'm going to do is take some of this out, and if I can just shake it onto the paper, just look at this colour, it's beautiful. Now I'm going to use a quite stiff bristle brush for this. Now it will fly around in the air, so be careful. I would advise possibly wearing a mask if you want to do this and you're concerned about your lungs. Just don't have any glue on your fingers when you do this, otherwise you never get it off. Now that's the only waste I've got, and to be honest, am I going to bother saving that? No, I'm not. So there we go, you just brush off any excess and it'll come off. If you've got one, you can use an anti-static pad before you do your gluing, but you really don't have to worry about it. And although this doesn't look that spectacular at the moment, in nice bright light it would look really, really lovely. I've put a piece of gold foil card onto my card base. Now, admittedly, this is a tad extravagant. I really should have cut out an area inside. I just couldn't be bothered at the time. So here's the base that I did, and I have another piece of the gold card, and I am going to wrap that so that it's about 1.5 inches from the left side of the card. I'm just going to wrap it around there. I didn't have quite enough double-sided tape just there. Not going to see it, so I'm just going to use some masking tape to hold it in place. And that is now going to be a large part of the front of my card. For my sentiment, I've actually made a gift tag, and I've put a little ribbon bow on it. I have put a reinforcement on there with my crocodile. And the reason for that is because if you're tying on a ribbon onto a card, the chances are you're going to actually break the card at the top. So it's a good idea to reinforce it. And I have some little cutouts. I just want to experiment with placing to see how I want to put these on. Here we have the finished card with the heart decorations and the label put on it. I think it looks very nice, and it's really a special card, but without being too girly. But I think as far as Valentine cards go for the guys, this isn't a bad one at all, and it doesn't actually take that long to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care now.